Hello friends, this is Swapna Shetty. In this video, we are going to see how to write a simple Java program and how do we write comments and import classes and so on. So writing comments. What are basically a comments? Comments are nothing but a description about the features of a program. Why should we write comments? We need to write comments to understand what the program is doing, as well as it helps others to easily follow our code. This means readability and understandability of a program will be more. There are basically two types of comments, like single line comments and the multi-line comments. Single line comments are for marking a single line as a comment. These generally start with double slash symbol, and multi-line comments are used for representing several lines as comments. These start with slash star and end with star slash. Next is how to import classes. So before importing classes and all, let us write a simple Java program. And for that, we are using a tool called Eclipse. So let me open Eclipse for this. Click on the eclipse.exe file. I'm using Indigo version of Eclipse. Here we need to give the workspace, that is where the programs are to be stored, the path of the programs to be stored. So click on OK. So when you open Eclipse, the first and foremost thing we need to check is in which perspective we are in. That is we are writing a very simple Java project. So we need to be in our Java perspective. And this is Package Explorer, where we write our projects, where the projects will be created, folder structure will be created, and this is the area where we write our programs, and this is the console area where we can do our output. So let me create our new Java project first. So click on File, New, Edit, Java project, and we need to give the project name here. So since this is my first project, I'm just naming it as sample project, and we need to give the location here, like I have given the default location as my where the path of the programs will be stored, and we need to select the JRE. I'm using Java 1.6, so select the JRE 1.6 and then click next and then say finish. So in the Package Explorer, you can see a project called sample has been created, where you can see the source src folder and some library files wherein it contains all the jobs required. And click on the project and say new class, and I'm giving a package name as educators, com.educators. Package is nothing but a collection of classes and interfaces. We'll look at interfaces in the coming sessions. And package, for now, package is nothing but a collection of classes where package names are all represented using small letters. And give the name of a class. So this is my first program, I just name it as first example or first program, and in which I require a main method. So click on the public static void main string args checkbox and then click on finish. So you can see a first program.java will be created in the source folder within a package com.educators. So in this first program.java, first thing is I would like to write comments for it. So let me write comments. So this Basically, this is my first Java program, so I just simply write the same thing. This is my first Java program to display a message. And we also write who is the author of this program. For now, I'm just saying it as educators team. And the version of the project is, for now I'm saying it as v1.0. And the project title, I just name it as Dream Project. And also we give project code. For now I'm just saying it as 1, 2, 3. So this is how we write comments. So after writing the comments, the next step is importing the classes. So in this particular program, I need two basic classes called system and string. So I just import them. They are located in a package called java.lang, where lang represents language. So within the package, I import a class called system, and also I import another class called, which is there in another class called string, which is located in java.lang package. So when I say this, java.lang acts as a reference to the JVM, where JVM will search for a particular class in this package. So instead of using unique or different import statements for each and every class, I can use it in a single line saying import java.lang.star. So star represents all the classes and interfaces located in the particular package. So I can remove these two now. So this is how we import classes from the packages using a statement, using a keyword called import. When we write a simple Java program, a simple C program, the very first line we write it as hash include stdio.h. So what is the difference between hash include stdio.h and import statements? So assume that we are writing a program called x.java, x.c, and the very first line in a C program would be hash include stdio.h. So why do we require this very first line is to use if we are using any functions in our C program. For example, I'm using printf, scanf, gets, and so on. So all these functions are located in a header file, which is nothing but stdio.h file. That is standard input output header file. So when I say hash include stdio.h file, the C++ compiler will go and search for the header file in tclib folder. When it finds this header file, the entire content of the header file is copied into our program. So if I write a 10 lines of x.c program after compilation, and when we try to run the program, now the program code will be increased. That is, if a header file is consisting of 200 lines, now my code will be of 210 lines. So therefore, the program size is increased, wasting memory and the processor time. So a better mechanism, an efficient mechanism is provided in Java by using import statements. So when we write import statement, JVM will not copy the entire code which is located in the class. Instead, it the JVM will go to the particular class, executes a particular method whatever we are using in our class, and substitutes the result back into our program. So the program size is never increased, so no memory is wasted, and processor time is also saved. So this is a better mechanism when compared to hash include. Next is, after importing the classes, we need to write a class. So every Java program should have at least one class. So for now, I'm just removing this public. We'll discuss about it later. So every class should be written using a keyword called class followed by the class name, that is first program and then the open brace and finally the closing brace. So every Java program should have at least one class. So we already know that a class consists of variables and methods. So in this particular program, I need a main method. So that is the reason we have written a method called public static void main. So why main? Because why should we write main? Without main, we cannot execute Java programs. So why should we write main? Because JVM always starts its execution from main. So that is the reason we need to create main method compulsory in our program. And the main method should be of public static void main string args. So main method is a starting point for JVM for the execution of a Java program. So we know that methods can accept few arguments. So main is a method which is accepting a string array. And main method doesn't return any value. So it is declared as void. And why main should be declared as static? So for that, we need to know few points. A method is executed only when it is called. But how to call a method? So methods are called using two steps in Java. First is we need to create an object of a class first. That is, my class name here is first program. So I need to create an object first in order to call a method inside it. So create an object. For that, use the class name. Object name equals to new keyword and then the class name again, first program followed by the brace. And using this object called obj, we call a method inside a class like obj.main. This is how we generally call the methods inside a class. So if we write the first statement like first program obj equal to new first program inside the main method, then JVM will execute the statement and create the object. By looking at the code, we can understand that an object should be created only after calling the main method. But for calling the main method, first of all, we require an object. Now, how is it possible to create an object before calling the main method? So, we should call the main method without creating an object. So, such methods are called static methods and should be declared as static. Static methods are the methods which can be called and executed without creating the objects. Since we want to call main method without using an object, we should declare main method as static. Then how is the main method called and executed? The answer for this is by using the class name dot method name. That is, JVM uses first program dot main in order to run this program. And next is why main method should be declared as public. Since JVM is a program written by JavaSoft people and main is the method written by us, main method should be available to the JVM. So that is the reason our program, our method, main method should be declared as public. If you don't declare main method as public, then it doesn't make itself available to JVM and JVM cannot execute it. So finally, main method should be something like public static void main string args. If at all, if you want to make any changes to this particular syntax, we can only interchange public and static. That is, instead of writing public static void main, I can simply say static public void main. And one more change we can do this to main method is we can change the name of the array. That is static public void main and give any name to the array. Now we have written main method. Now what happens if string args is not written in the main method? Let's remove this and check. So when you removed, we didn't find any compiler error. That is, the code will compile, but JVM cannot run the code because it cannot recognize the main method as the method from where it should start execution of the Java program. So always, JVM always looks for main method with string type array as the parameter. So this statement is necessary. Now, our aim of this program is to display a string. So for that, I use a statement called system.out.println. System is a class name. So when I say dot, I have variables like out. So when I say system.out, in the background, a print stream object will be created. So system is the class name and out is a static variable in the system class. So when we call this field, a print stream class object will be created internally. So using that object, I can call a method called print method. So that is the reason I use system.out. So when I say system.out, it internally it creates print stream object, and print stream would represent our standard output device, which is nothing but monitor. So when I say system.out, it represents the monitor, and using the print method, I can print a string. So welcome to Java. So now a simple Java program has been created. Now in order to run this, right click, say run as Java application. So in the console, you can see welcome to Java. So this is how we write a simple Java program. Now, if I wanted to add two numbers, so for that I require two variables which stores the values into the variables and which are of type int. So I would simply declare two variables called int x, y. And our next step is to initialize x and y variables. Initialization means storing values into the variables. So I would simply say x equals to 10 and y equals to 25. Next step is to calculate the sum. So for that, I require another variable called z, which performs the addition of x and y, x plus y. Now the value of z has to be printed. So for that, I'm using system.out.println z. So let's run this application now. Run as Java application. You can see welcome to Java 35. If I wanted to print the output, the number 35 in the next line, so I use, instead of print statement, I use println. So the difference between print and println is print statement would print the particular string and the cursor remains in the same line. Whereas if I say println, it would print the string and moves the cursor to the next line. And then the next print statements follow up. Let us run this and check. Run as Java application. You can see welcome to Java 35 in the next line. Now, how do we format the output? So what is formatting the output is, instead of printing just the number 35 in the output, I wanted to see something like sum of two numbers equals to 35. So for that, I append this z with another string called sum of two numbers equals to close the string and concatenate using plus operator. So when I say this and run the application, I can find sum of two numbers equals to 35. And now instead of using z value, if I wanted to omit the usage of z, that is, I don't want to use z in a separate statement, instead I can print it here itself, that is x plus y. So when I change this and try to run the application, you can see sum of two numbers equals to 1025. The reason is, here is in the print method, if you look at it, always executes from left to right. So the left one is a string called sum of two numbers, and the next two parameters are integers. So x is now, since the left one is a string, x is converted into a string. That is 10 is converted into a string, and 1 and 0 are treated as the separate characters and then concatenated to the string. And similarly, y also is converted into a string, and 2 and 5 are treated as separate characters and concatenated with the string. So that is the reason we got the output as sum of two numbers equals to 10, 25. Now how do we avoid this? Is simply use another simple parenthesis called x plus 5. So now always execution starts from the inner braces. So the left one is x, which is nothing but an integer, followed by plus, and the next parameter is y, it's again an integer. So addition operation is performed here. So let's run and check. And as Java application, so you can see sum of two numbers equals to 35 and not 10, 25. So this is how we can format the output. So let's come back to the session. So we have seen here what is the difference between hash include and the import statement, and we have seen that every Java program should have at least one class, and JVM always starts its execution from main, and the syntax of main should be public static void main string args. So that's all with the session. Thank you.